Hi guys, so back again with another video. Basically I'm recapping on the old stuff about how to identify fake HGH generally, okay? So if you want to contact me, that's fine, feedingoutsausage@gmail.com, it's underneath in the comments, or that description, or www.feedingoutsausage.com. I've got another genotropin, fakehgh.com, something like that. You'll find everything underneath. So, generally speaking, okay, ways to identify if the HGH is good or not. Okay, I always go through this list with people because they write to me and say, I think I bought fake HGH. So this is how we can tell, right? Number one, okay, I specialize in the Pfizer genotropin from the pharmacy. Everything is bought with a prescription from the pharmacy with receipts and all. So I mainly know about this, but this information will help you identify generally to do with HGH, but mainly to do with Pfizer genotropin. So, number one, the price, okay? Where was it bought from, okay? If it wasn't bought from a pharmacy by yourself, it's already a huge disadvantage because, someone bought it from someone who bought it from someone who bought it from someone. Unless you've got someone who goes into a pharmacy and he buys it, like I do, it's very difficult to know. So we gauge the price. If the price is really cheap, all this 120, 140 quid, $180, this is all crap. You can't buy real HGH for that. Let alone somebody buys it, somebody makes profit off it, somebody pays for petrol for shipping, goes, he makes money, sells it to somebody who then sells it to you. So forget it. Number two, anybody who says, I got it from the warehouse. Nobody can get it from the warehouse. Okay, you can't get it from the warehouse. You need to be a registered pharmacy. You need to have a pharmaceutical license to get it from the warehouse because they don't want to get into trouble. Number three, blood tests. Blood tests aren't very accurate, unfortunately. The shittest Chinese HGH I've ever seen passes the blood test and actually does better than genuine HGH that costs 8 times as much. Because the Chinese have managed to find a way to spoof it. So when people fake the HGH, they actually find ways to spoof the numbers. Now, obviously, if it's a bad fake and you don't know if it's a good fake, obviously, if the number comes up at 0, it's cracked out. But there's no point going and paying all that money to keep trying to test, oh, I think this is real. Oh, shit, it came back with 0. Oh, this is real. Oh, but wait a minute, it's fake. So how did it come up with positive numbers? So that's not a really good one. So the other way that we can tell, obviously, is by discrepancies with the packaging. Okay, so on my website, I've got loads and loads and loads of photos of the fake ones versus the real ones. Okay, and you're more than welcome to hit me up on Instagram as well, send me some photos. So you see, with my packaging right here, okay, we've got a 4-bar serial number with a QR code. One of them is the 21 code. That 21 code has to be separate on all of them. You see, this one ends in 4691. This one ends in 291. That basically is the checksum sort of number. Every one is made with a different number so that it's harder to copy. So fakes will have the same of that number. Not always though. I've seen fakes that actually have copies of real numbers from the pharmacy. Other things that make it quite hard is that there's some things that change over time. You see, for example, this was 10th of 2025. This is 5th of 2025. This is 8th of 2026. That's the expiry date, basically, and the batch number. You see, this is printed in darker ink. It's because the batch numbers changed over time. That's basically all it is. So you can't really say, oh, I think maybe mine might be fake because it's darker than your print. No, there's misprints, there's different prints and stuff like that. The other thing is, years ago, where it was printed made a difference. You see, these are German, Almania. This is Belgium. You see, it says Belska. Belgica, however, is Belgium. So you see, there's originals from both countries. Before COVID, the originals used to come from one place. Now, they come from 2 places, okay? So that's no indication. It's just that that, on the original, for example, here, the ones that were with this serial number are here. The ones that were this serial number were printed there. So this is the other thing. The biggest discrepancies, they come in forms of, for example, the braille is missing, you know, or the braille is totally wrong. It's possible that the braille has a mistake on it. I mean, they don't always print with exactly the same paper and everything. Things like the color of the lines, you know, these sort of things you can tell, you know. Inside the box, if the serial number doesn't match this number, it's a fake. Now, or for example, like, you know, if the blue sticker on the inside is a little bit darker or lighter around the instruction manual. See, so all these ways you can kind of tell, but you see, at the end of the day, people will still sort of look at all this and say, well, mine's got a tiny difference. Do you think it's fake? Listen, I can easily say if it's not identical to this, yes, it's fake, because I know these are 100% real. So, you know, I can easily say that. But, you know, maybe somebody bought a batch, because I bought in January, then I bought in middle of February. Maybe somebody bought a batch at the end of January which had a misprint on it that I haven't come across. Is it possible? Yeah. But it's no indication, really. Most of these on the internet fake. I mean, one person maybe out of every 40 people, 50, 60 people who contact me, they actually have an original. Everybody else is fake. So these are many, many, many different ways that we can tell. Obviously, it's much easier when I run through it for you, you know. So basically, the best way is, you know, you got to have a good source, and you got to understand that these things are rare. It's not easy to get them. It's expensive medicine. This, you know, when somebody has a box this big with 100 in there, it's not real. It's not real. So I hope this video has clarified various ways that we can, you know, try and gauge through the original photos I've got. We've said through the pricing, through who you bought it from, through things like blood tests, not very accurate, through, you know, mistakes on the packaging, you know, all these ways are the ways that we try to fight fakes. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Okay, small addendum at the end of this video, by the way. When I was describing how we can tell about the fakes, there's one more thing that's actually quite interesting. It's the feeling of the HGH. Now, many people think, oh, I'm going to use the HGH and overnight I'm going to burn fat. It doesn't work that way. If you do get that sort of effect, chances are it's a peptide or something in there that's really strong, or, you know, because I've seen HGH with cortisones in it to make you swell up and feel hot when you use it so you get water retention. I've seen HGH with peptides in it, all sorts of stuff, you know, to make you feel something like. So one of the biggest feelings of fake HGH is minor, like panic attacks. I don't know what's in them, but guys who had said to me, you know, I've got this HGH, I thought it was real, but I get panic attacks when I use it. Okay, that's fake. So things that you can usually tell on the HGH, how it's real or not, is number one, you get water retention. Okay, first of all, it takes about 3 weeks to see like a difference with the HGH in terms of like, first thing you get is a bit of a weight gain because of the water retention. Then after the 3 weeks, you'll notice you maybe have suppressed appetite, you'll notice this, you'll notice that. But one of the first few things you notice is number one, vivid dreams. Okay, if you shoot this near the time you're going to sleep, vivid dreams. Okay, that's one. Number two, different quality of sleep, maybe tiredness during the day from it, maybe a little bit more like you feel good, or you just like, oh man, I really need a good sleep, and you get that good sleep. So these little things in the beginning, indications that you're using real HGH. Third thing that happens sometimes, people get swollen fingers. I mean, I've heard of people, it varies, the amount of water retention, the amount of swelling. It varies between sort of swelling that's quite bad to swelling where you can't close your fingers, which is very rare. Some people get carpal tunnel syndrome. These are indications of real HGH. My favorite one for most people, it's a feeling. It's a feeling of like, you know, oh, I'm on something here, you know, this is good. This is like, I slept well last night. I had some crazy dreams last night. You know, this is one of the biggest indicators. So usually when people get fakes, it doesn't feel like that. What it feels like is like, I'm using it, but I'm not feeling anything. This is the first thing they write to me. Or, I've got weight loss, but I get panic attacks. Now, how long have you been using it for? 3 weeks. That's too fast to get weight loss effects. Or, it's like, you know, I'm using it, I'm not convinced, there's something really wrong here, it just doesn't feel like it should do, I don't understand why people are raving about it. So most people, they write to me, and it's one of these 3 things they say when they've got a fake. So that feeling, I think, is quite important, because it's one of the first things that makes people contact me, because usually it goes like, someone bought the HH, someone's really happy, somebody uses it, and they think, but I'm not getting anything. So that's one of the key indicators, you know. So that's it. I hope all this helps, you know.